Hi everybody, welcome to the Crafty Corner. You're crafting with Katrina. We're going to make a recipe box today. And what I'm doing right now is just putting my papers together, and I'll go over that with you here in just a minute. So right now, what we're going to need is our base pieces, and this is our chipboard. So you'll need two that are 4.5 by 4.5, and then you will need three that are 2 by 4.5. So once we get our pieces cut down, you take a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, decorative paper, and you cut it in half. And then you glue it together on the long end so that you have a 6 by 24. All right, so it'll be 6 inches up and down in height, 24 inches long. All right, and then we're going to start laying our chipboard here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is find that seam. You see how pretty and shiny this is on this side? So I'm going to turn it to the dull side because that's the side that I want to glue it to. All right, and we're going to get our first piece of chipboard. All right, and this is a 2 by 4.5 piece. And you want to place it so that that seam runs right down the center of that piece of chipboard. And you want to line it up as best you can. All right, I'm using the art glitter glue. It does grab. You can use tape, glue, whatever your medium to secure this chipboard to the paper is of choice, you're welcome to use. I tend to use a combination of both glue and tape. As you can see here, I decided to put some tape down on this chipboard. All right, and then I'm going to go in between that tape and around the tape with the art glitter glue. And that's just to give it some security so that it stays in place. And y'all have to excuse me tonight. I have a little sinus cold activity going on here, but I'm going to get through it because I wanted to put this video out for you. Now, as you can see, I use my ruler to measure there. I want to make sure that I'm at least 1 inch up on the paper from top and bottom. And I have a little more on the bottom than the top, but that's okay. All right, and then we just lay our chipboard down on that seam. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do is place those chipboards. The next one would be the 4.5 by 4.5, and you would put one of those on each side of that center chipboard. All right, now I've laid my tape on all my chipboard, and I'm just going to go in with my glue. I'm going to even them out with my ruler to make sure they're straight and they're in a line. Because if you don't make sure they're straight and in line, your recipe box is not going to close properly. All right, so I'm just lining it up with the ruler here. And I'm going to leave about a 1/8 inch space between each one. All right, so now I've got all my chipboard laid down. All right, now I'm just kind of bending it at the folds where my spaces are, because that is how we will bend our box up. So you just want to try to train that paper to go that way so that when you do fold it up and bend it, it doesn't tear. I like to go in with my ruler in between and just kind of help it bend and burnish that score mark there. Now, those two pieces there, I might have put just a little bit too close together, but that's okay. We're still going to work with it. And it does fold. And then we're going to take our paper on each end, and I'm going to cut off this excess paper. Now, you'll notice I only have excess paper on one end. The paper on that end, on the other side, that's okay. All right, so I cut them down about even. All right, then I take my ruler and I put it on the corner of my designs there because I want to miter those edges. And I just go in with my X-Acto knife and cut that away. So now you see we have a little, about a 1/8 inch or a little more right there at those corners. And that's so that we don't end up with those sharp pointy corners that we can't do anything with. And I'm going to do that on all 4 of the corners using my ruler and my X-Acto knife. And that's what your corners should look like. I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. And just turn it so that I'm not cutting off all my paper, because you're going in at an angle. Now it's got a little piece here that didn't want to cut, but we got it. And then we'll get this last corner here. And cut that piece off. It just doesn't want to let go, does it? All right. So now that we've gotten that off, I'm going to take my score tape, my flat score tape, after I train this paper to go up like we said before. I'm just bending those papers up so that when I get ready to fold them in, they're ready to go. And they know which direction they need to go because I'm showing them. So we're going to train our paper to go up like it's supposed to and bend over. And I'm just smoothing it around the edges there. I'm doing the same thing with the ends. And I went in, I'm put my score tape down in the middle. And I'm just going to remove those end pieces of score tape. Now I put score tape on the corners of and I push the corners in. And that's because I want them to stay in and I don't want them to come back up. So I use a really small piece of score tape to do that with. So once I push them in, they're held in place. And then I can lay my paper down, fold it over without any issues. And I'm just going around each corner and doing the same thing. All right, so you see how those are tacked down now, those corners. They're not going anywhere. And if you need to cut your paper on the end a little bit so that it'll fold on over, by all means do that. I did not have to do that, so I'm just going to go in and I'm going to remove the score tapes in the middle. And this is double-sided tape, so I'm exposing that sticky end, and all I did was cover up those seams because I will go over this with glue once I lay my insert paper down. But what we don't want is glue down in those seams. So I cover it up with score tape with an equal amount of score tape on each side of those cracks. All right, and then I'm taking the score tape off of my paper as well. And now I'm going in with my glue. Now, right now, you really only need to put the glue on the ends or on your paper, ends of your paper. And I did go in and start scribbling glue on the inside of it, but I will apply more glue because I'm going to stick my papers down first. So if you glue up your center now, it's okay. All right, and then we're just going to bend our paper in the same way that we trained it to go. And smooth it on down. And then I'm going to go in with my brayer and just bray that down so that the glue grabs hold. All right, we're going to do that on all the sides. And then once we do that, we're going to cut some cardstock and lay that in our center. And once we've laid it, we're going to train our paper again to fold. Now, you can use your brayer to kind of smooth that down when you're folding it, and that will help keep your paper from wrinkling and help spread that glue out. I did get a few wrinkles in there, but I am able to fix those with some glue. All right, now we're going to do the sides of our paper. And what I have there, I'm scoring at every ½ inch. All right. Our paper is the decorative paper because these are going to be the sides of our box. Now you can be creative and do different colors. You're going to need 2 pieces of that. So I'm just going to go in and score the other side real fast. And then a lot of people, you'll see them put their paper at the top of the scoreboard and score. I am not that talented. I have to put it down to the bottom of the scoreboard where I can see it. You know, the beauty is I don't have to put it on its measurements. I just have to put it on, I started on an even number or a number. And then every ½ inch I score. Just like so. And what we're going to do is accordion fold these pieces just like this on those score lines. And you want to score on all of them because these are the pieces that will be on the sides of our recipe box. All right, and that's how our accordion looks. So when you lay that down, you're laying the white on the inside and you're gluing this to the bottom, or what is the sides, of the box. You'll be gluing it to the other sides of the box. All right, now once that's glued down, I'm going to go in and I'm going to put my Velcro on. Because I use Velcro closures, magnetic closures. You can use any kind of closure that you want. Or you don't have to use a closure at all. You can do the string closure. All right, and I'm particular about that Velcro, which one is the top and which one is the bottom. Your top one should be your skinnier, smoother one that you'll attach to the bottom. All right, and I have that turned around backwards, but I'll put it back the right way when I get ready to put it on the box. All right, and then feet, you can use any kind of feet on your box that you want to, or you don't have to use any at all. It's totally up to you. I'm going to put these little decorative balls on the bottom of the box. But that will be one of the last things that I do, and I'm going to put that button in the center of the bottom piece of my box, or the lid, of the lid of my box. And those are just some of the decorative pieces I chose for this particular box, but I have other decorative pieces that you can use, like these blings here. I got all of these at Hobby Lobby. No, I'm sorry. I got these at Walmart. These came from Walmart. And they're called Fashion Sparkles. You know, or you can use the round peg as a centerpiece. It is totally up to you how you want to decorate the top. All right, so there's our Velcro on the box. All right, and as you can see, the sides are on there. We've got our Velcro down, and our box is closing up very nicely. So it's a very pretty recipe box. And I'm just lining that up so we get it in the right place. All right, now I decided to take some clips to hold my little sides to end correctly until or the piece of Velcro that I put down, I'm sorry, while I put the feet on my box. So I've got my box turned upside down and I'm just placing those feet in the position that I want them in. And I usually use hot glue for this. I am gluing it to the chipboard and the paper, so I go in with some hot glue and put it on. Now, when you use these kinds of pegs that have the circles in them, that have holes in them, you want to make sure your hole is flush. In other words, it's pointed up so that when you set your box down, it sits down flat and it doesn't wobble. If you glue those on the sides, your box is not going to stand upright. It's going to wobble. It may even roll away from you. So I usually do this corners. All right, and then I'll go in and put the other two corners in. Just like so. All right, so now the bottom of our box has feet and it can stand up on them. All right, and I remove the clip there, and I'm just going to test out my Velcro to make sure it's working correctly. And it is. All right, and then that's pretty. That's the other side of the paper that we wanted to show, and that's the shiny side, and it's real pretty. This is a beautiful recipe box for that Diva's Kitchen, honey, because some of you divas out there know you can cook. You need to write those recipes down and pass them on down to the family members, because y'all know you got that one person in that family that needs the recipe book. They need it. They need the box. You need to pass it down to them. They're the ones that you tell to bring the canned cranberry sauce to Thanksgiving, because, woo, y'all know what I'm talking about. So I made these recipe boxes just basically as keepsakes that you can put your recipes and things in and pass them down to your family members. So this is our box. Thank you for tuning in to the Crafty Corner.
Staring photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my heart. In my heart is where you are. I still think